Pride. For those unfamiliar, imagine a way cooler UFC, where you were allowed to kick people in the head, powerbomb folk through the fucking ring, and abuse the shit out of any human growth hormone you could get your hands on. That was Pride. Pride FC was established back in 1999 to settle beef between Japan and Brazil. Which sounds crazy, but real life is fucking crazy, so you just have to trust me. As time passed, shit got wilder and wilder, with some of the greatest MMA fights that had ever taken place being Pride fights. Now, I could go on all day about the promotion, but we're here to discuss the company's foray into video games. If you want to know more about Pride, I highly recommend Napoleon Bonaparte's 3-hour-long video on it. Trust me, it's worth your time. In 2003, Pride had 2 different games based on it released. One was made by THQ and released worldwide in April, and the second, the subject of today's video, developed and published by Papa Capcom itself. SNK had Bariki 1, Capcom had Pride GP Grand Prix 2003. Now, it's kind of what you expect for a sports-based fighting game on the PS2. It's somewhat janky, but it's that good kind of jank. The kind of jank that will have you laughing and saying, how the fuck does that work? Striking is fairly easy to get the hang of. It's like Tekken. Square and triangle are your left and right punches, X and circle are your left and right kicks. If you double tap the analog stick towards your opponent, you'll throw out more powerful strikes, like uppercuts or head kicks. Unless you're Mirko fucking Krokop, in which case your default kick is your head kick. Because who doesn't love erasing people's childhood memory via cranial breakage? To block, it's as simple as not doing shit. Just don't, and you'll block. However, this goes against every instinct a human has, so it kind of forces you into this awkward awareness of what you're doing. If you tap the analog stick towards your opponent, you'll perform a dodge, you can roll under punches and immediately respond with a counter punch. Your other defensive option, if you tap the analog stick away while pressing one of the attack buttons, you'll perform a hop back while throwing some kind of kick or punch. Press both punch buttons or both kick buttons together and you can catch people's strikes. Good luck doing this, the timing is fucking weird. Now, it's not the most complex striking mechanics. We've obviously moved far beyond them with advancement in video game technology. But if you bought an MMA game, you're not just here for the striking, you're here for the grappling, which in most cases is often far more complex, but also far more interesting. I find with MMA games, the most interesting part is usually the grappling. Strikes are easy enough, you just tap a button and something happens, but with grappling there's a certain logic that you have to follow, and a certain moveset you have to create based around that logic. So let's break down this game. So the easiest way to initiate a grapple is to perform a tackle. Not all fighters have the exact same moves. Someone like top tier Kazushi Sakuraba has grapples for days and can pull whatever he needs out of his ass at any moment. If you're playing as a striker like Mirko Krokop, good luck. Try and stay on your feet, mate. Tackles, clinches, and all types of holds are initiated by pressing X and square together, or circle and triangle. With Saku, you'll immediately dive low and grab their ankle. This is great if you'd like to be kicked directly in the face. When you've got them, you'll either end up in side position, top mount, full guard, or the mythical back mount. Mythical because I don't know how the fuck to get into them. The opponent can force you into the receiving end of any of these positions. To push an enemy off, you can just press the kick buttons with the analog stick pointing towards them. Or if you're Sakuraba, you can sit up and immediately put them in a fucking Kimura. Nowhere is safe with Saku, and his defensive ground game is top tier. The ground is naturally the world of the grappler, and it is by far the easiest way to steal a victory with grapple counterplay. Grapplers have numerous lanes of attack on defense while on the floor, but strikers like poor Krokop have 2 options: kick them off or get fucking murked. If you're knocked down, you'll still have your defenses. Pressing punch buttons will throw out a pointless taunt, pressing kick buttons will allow you to actually throw out some low strikes towards your opponent's knees. If you press the tackle buttons, you can attempt to pick their ankle. This is not recommended, however, as you're low to the ground and it is, again, very easy to kick you directly in the face. That shit is legal in Pride. Now, there is little information on the game available, so I've gone ahead, purchased the game from Japan, scanned the manual, and I'm going to put it all up online, specifically the grappling sections. The link will be available in the description. Pride has always had an all-star roster, right up until its dying days. In this game we have legends. The manliest man who ever lived, Don Fry, the Spider, Anderson Silva, Big Nog, the last Emperor, Fedor Emelianenko, and of course my boy, Kazushi Sakuraba. Now I want to take a minute to talk about Sakuraba, as he does actually have some connection to fighting games. Guy Tendo of Bariki 1 and King of Fighters is actually based upon Sakuraba. His hair in particular is taken from his 90-minute long match with Royce Gracie. My man participated in the longest MMA match of all time against an undefeated fighter, and won. The Gracie family, the guys who came up with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, even changed the rules to work in their favor. And my man still won. He was known as the Gracie Hunter, as he had a streak of taking them out. The dude also fought at open weight. Absolute fucking nutter. I don't really have much funny to say in this section, so instead I'll mock the presence of Nobuhiko Takada. He is a jobber, and he somehow managed to crawl his way into this game. He's like a Japanese CM Punk. He is fucking shit, but he's important for the history of MMA, because if it wasn't for him, Pride wouldn't have been started. This was the dumbass that initiated the rivalry between Japan and Brazil. And his boy Sakuraba, his student, ended up being the one who actually, got the wins for Japan. Takada, fuck out of here, bro. I'm gonna be honest here. Even for a PS2 game, it looks rough. Some characters look okay, but fuck, look at Vochanchin. Rumor is, there's still Capcom devs that are in hiding over that one. I do love the classic cardboard crowds, but oh man. The animation for winning the Grand Prix is sad. It's just me and one of my corner guys. Where's everyone else? Where's my flowers? All my hard work for this? I'll be honest, the THQ version looks way fucking better. It's like an early PS2 title versus a late PS2 title. Except the better looking game came out earlier. It's only by a few months, so what happened here, Capcom? The Capcom version has a better roster at least. All THQ has is the old Ken Slamcock. Creative Fire is fucking worthless, flat out. It's so limited that you can't create any unholy abominations. Look at SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, released the same year, and the utter fucking insanity you can do on that game. Amora is a wrestling game and it's part of the territory, but at the same time, I doubt the whole grapple system took up that much room. Surely you could have given us more than 15 hairstyles, some of which are just colouring in the top of your guy's head. It's disappointing, but game's been out 2 decades. Not really much point in complaining at this point, huh? Okay, so here's how I found out about this game. I was aware of the THQ Pride game, but this one piqued my interest when I happened to notice a little something on a certain wiki page during Boss Syndrome. So the game has 3 secret characters, that being Saku Mushin, our boy in a mask, Nobuhiko Takada, the jobber, and the referee, who I can't figure out how to unlock. But there was originally going to be far more unlockable characters. Lil Nog, Renzo Gracie, Chuck Liddell, and the world's greatest fighter Bob Sapp were part of that roster. They were discovered by people heading into the files and finding commentator and crowd noises for them. You know who else they found? Fucking Akuma! That's right, there is a bunch of audio clips pointing at the ginger cunt making his way into the game.
In the red corner, from Capcom, Goki!
きたー！これが春国殺！
Can you imagine Akuma in an MMA game? And judging by the audio files, he would have had the Shoryuken and the fucking Raging Demon. Shit. I would have killed for this. It could have been something special and fucking wild. Apparently he was mostly finished too, but they dropped him at the last moment. Why? See, Akuma getting dropped so late does, give me a little theory. I have a sneaking suspicion that this game may have been rushed, or may have been maybe the Capcom E team, not the A, not the B, not the C, not the D, the E team, which I think has led to it being kind of lackluster. Is this a hidden gem? Not really, it's more of a curious oddity. A fighting game powerhouse like Capcom making an MMA game was always going to be interesting to say the least. They pioneered fighting games, created a crazy wrestling fighting game mashup in Super Slam Masters. So I was kind of hoping they'd done the same with MMA. I'll be honest, outside of my own curiosity about a hidden Pride game, I was hoping to find something special. I think it would have been actually far better if they'd leaned more into the absurdity of Pride, because some ridiculous shit happened there. Just look at some of their opening sequences. I feel like you really could have done something there. Perhaps a more arcadey feeling game would have stood out better. I do like the more realistic sports-based fighters, don't get me wrong, but fuck it, if it's a Capcom game, give me some sauce, damn it. And that is my main criticism with the game. It's kind of bland. You have other sports-based fighters that have a lot going for them. Look at Fight Night Champion. It had a whole wonderful story mode with a fantastic final boss. But Pride here is just kind of... I'll put it on every so often when I'm bored on a night, play a few matches, but then I'll immediately return to Third Strike or something. Ah well. Yo modders, you wanna try put Akuma in this son of a bitch? I'll give you 10,700.76 yen. Exactly. And that brings our little grappling tutorial to a close. I hope you got something out of this, and as always, go get your ass kicked.